Before we go any further, let's address the elephant in the room, because this is where people are starting to panic. You've heard the words Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and your first thought is probably, that's it, the money is gone. And I get that. A lot of you are sitting here right now feeling angry, confused, and completely out of control. You trusted something, you were told a story, and now it feels like everything has just collapsed overnight. But here's what no one is explaining properly. This is not the end of the road. This is a $328 million alleged Ponzi scheme. A CEO arrested on wire fraud and money laundering charges. And a system that now has been taken out of the hands of the people who were running it. A class action lawsuit was filed on March the 11th, 2026, targeting Goliath Ventures and Christopher Delgado. At the same time, other lawsuits started emerging, including claims against law firms, institutions, and many who helped keep things alive. Then just the other day, just days later, on March the 16th, the court appointed a receiver, steps in and files Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Now, this is the part that people are getting wrong. This filing was not done by Delgado. It was done by the company. It wasn't done by the company trying to escape. It was done by the receiver, whose job is to step in, take control, and protect what is left. This is about stopping the chaos, because before this, lawsuits were exploding everywhere. Victims were racing each other's assets were at risk of disappearing. So the court steps in and says, everything stops here. Now, everything gets pulled into one process. Assets get traced, crypto wallets get tracked, luxury items get seized, and instead of a free-for-all, there's now a structured path forward. But here's the key point, and this is the part almost no one is talking about. Bankruptcy only protects the company. It does not protect the people behind it. It does not protect the promoters. It does not protect the partners. It does not protect the banks, law firms, or anyone else who may be enabling this. And in cases like that, that's where the real fight begins. Because historically, when these schemes collapsed, the money doesn't just sit with one person. It moves throughout the network. The same network that helped grow this company. Right now, there is about 2,000 victims, millions in claims, and a receiver working to recover what is left. The process is about bringing order to chaos, not shutting the door. And if you understand that, you start to realize something important. This isn't over. Not even close. So let's break it down. Before I get started, I want you to realize something about me and what we do here. I'm Danny DeHeck, and I have a team of Avengers who provide me information. And we've been working tirelessly on this since the 1st of September 2025. I was just looking at the database, and I can see that we currently have 233 people in persons of interest. I was going through some of the newspaper clippings before I got started today, and I realised they found one person associated with Christopher Delgado. He's not an investor. He's just somebody who was associated with him. And they've managed to publish somebody's face. Isn't that incredible? And here I am holding a database with 233 individuals that have either invested or been promoting Goliath Ventures. I can't help but think, what the hell are these newspapers reporting on? And where are they getting their information from? It is incredible. Other newspaper articles that have come out recently, which I haven't even really had a look at, are giving their pitch on what they think is actually really going down. But no one's talking about my elephants in the room. I've got a whole list of them here, waiting for a good reporter to come along. Now, I did have a reporter that was struggling to make an appointment with me for the last 3 weeks. And 10 o'clock yesterday morning was D-Day. I'd actually managed to make sure that I was up and ready for the appointment. I rang them up at 10:15 and go, well, I'm waiting, and I've got crickets. It shows you that there's a shit show going on at the moment. Now, I broadcast this on I'm streaming live currently on 6 different platforms. Rumble, Kick, if you've heard of it. You can even go to my channel, view my channel, and you'll see that I'm actually broadcasting live at the moment. I'm also on Twitch, and you'll see I'm broadcasting live. I also stream live on X at the same time, and here I am. Look at me, got 2 views there. And I'm also on LinkedIn, which doesn't always show up, but that should actually show up about now. But and I forgot to actually start my Rumble feed today. But anyway, my point is, we're everywhere. Now, why am I telling you that? Because some people have been trying to remove my content, and it's quite comical. So if you are on my video section, you'll see that we have now put back our article, the secrets recordings from Jonathan. I can't even get his last name, Mainson. I can't get his last name right. Can't get his last name right. But anyway, it's quite comical, but he's already filed a complaint with YouTube. So if you want access to this video, or you want to download it and redistribute it, you're more than welcome. But I just think it's quite funny that these guys don't want this information online.
Okay, you work for the wall. It's my office right now. But listen.
This guy is alleging that there is $1 billion worth locked up in crypto wallets. This guy, Jonathan Mensor, is also claiming that he has another opportunity with Matt Burks where you can invest now. And if you have your rich buddies available, you can actually contact him and he'll give you a commission for referring people. So these guys haven't learned. This is a partner of Goliath. This is an individual that you can go after and make a claim. Now, there's already a claim against him, and I've actually been talking to the lawyer that's going up against him and providing him information, including the recordings that he's trying to get off the internet. So don't think for a minute that you can't go after these partners, but don't think I'm just going to wait and see, because you're going to miss out. And that's what we're doing here today. So what I'm doing, I'm actually encouraging guys to actually realize, hello, Velvet, nice to see you here. Realize that it's just the beginning of a long, laborious task to do something about you thinking that this was a real, legitimate operation. If you really thought that there was an opportunity out there where you could give them $100,000 and they were going to give you $3,000 worth of your money back every month religiously for the rest of your life, then good on you. But now you realize it was too good to be true, and you want to stay away from anyone that's telling you that there's another system that's not quite paying as much, because they will just rinse and repeat and do the same thing. And this is why we need to go after these partners, and this is why you need to actually fight and go after these individuals. Now, I have heard all sorts of things. I'm even receiving messages directly from Christopher lately through my website. If you go to my Contact Us page and you click on this, you can actually submit information to me privately and anonymously. We have tracked communications where just in the last 48 hours, Christopher has been sending me messages trying to get me to publish stuff that isn't true. And we know that it's you, Christopher, and you're quite comical. So he's been using this form. You can use this form and you can use anonymous If you don't want to put your email address in here, you can actually just leave the anonymous one or put anonymous@gmail.com. And these messages get to me and you can provide me tippets. But Christopher Delgado, if you think that you can provide me information and made up stories so I publish incorrect information, you are wrong. But I do think it's quite comical that you've been using this form to try to mislead me, which makes it even more ridiculous what you're trying to do there. All right, so this blog is actually quite an eye-opener. If you haven't got access to the Chapter 11 filing, you can go there and download this here. It was quite sad to see all the names of all the people that they owed money to. But this is the people, this is seriously the people that have come forward and laid a complaint. And here they are on the receiver's desk. If you haven't laid a complaint and you're waiting to see what happens, you're just going to have no chance of getting your money back whatsoever. If you don't want your name, or maybe you borrowed the money from a source that you shouldn't have, and you just don't want your name in the public arena, well, you're just going to miss it. You're just going to kiss your money goodbye. But what should give you some faith is that the individuals here have put the money that they were owed, they were invested, down on the table, and everybody's in the same boat. So put your big boy trousers on, and I can't express enough how important it is for you to actually stop waiting and actually do something about your losses and how you were tricked out of your money. When the dust settles in a Ponzi scheme, the real battle isn't proving the fraud, it's following the money. What this bankruptcy really means for victims, why it's not the end, and where the fight goes next. Goliath Ventures Chapter 11 bankruptcy filed. Here's exactly what this meant for every investor and why it's not bad news as you may think, but you can still hammer the co-conspirators. Quick note, in case you thought I was a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer and I don't like normally saying disclaimers. I'm just a guy in the bottom of the planet living here in New Zealand trying to help people and try to stop people. Just yesterday I did a video on a different topic. And if you haven't been following my YouTube channel, when you go to videos, you can see there I did a video about BG wealth sharing and how a couple was here telling everyone how to invest. I do other videos as well. I don't just do Goliath, but I've gone down the rabbit hole of Goliath since September the 1st, 2025, and we've been publishing a lot of content. In fact, I've done over 30 blogs, and I've done 30 videos targeting just Goliath and the content on our desk on that day. In total, I've done over 60 videos all about Goliath. I've got about 2,500 videos on my YouTube channel at the moment on all sorts of schemes and scams. So make sure you do subscribe. In fact, if you subscribe, that is awesome. If you could donate, that would be even better. That we do as Avengers. And I promise you, if I get rich from doing this, I probably won't tell you, but there will be signs, as I often say. And anytime somebody subscribes, I always get Sadie. She gets paid absolutely nothing. She's a lovely girl that walked down the street doing nothing, and I asked her to come along and clean the screen of people who subscribe to my YouTube channel. So there you go. So do hit the thumbs up. All that sort of stuff really makes a huge difference. So a quick note, in case you thought I was a lawyer, I'm not. But this sure as hell isn't legal advice. I'm just calling it like I see it from public filings and everything I've been screaming about for months. Get yourself a proper attorney before you make any moves. So you have to get an attorney. You'll have to get somebody. We do have some people, but I don't like referring people because then if it goes wrong, I'm not liable for giving out my advice. But we do have some very, very good people who have reached out to us. And I don't mind passing their names on, but you'll have to do your own due diligence. Right, listen up, folks. That sounds like somebody in America. We don't say folks here in New Zealand, but let's make this targeting to the people that are listening to me. Folks, I know a lot of you are sitting here right now feeling angry, confused, and completely out of control. You trusted something, you were told a story, and now it feels like everything has just collapsed overnight. If you got burnt by Goliath Ventures, you already know the drill. Christopher Alexander Delgado arrested, voluntarily handed himself in and has been providing evidence to the investigators for at least a month before he actually handed himself in. Even his own partners couldn't believe that he just drove himself to the courtroom and handed himself in and left with an ankle bracelet and now is residing in an $8.5 million house that you paid for, which is disgusting. Anyway, 828 million Ponzi allegations. Your money funding luxury cars, watches, and even his partners are saying that he's got about 50 watches. We know the receivers have so far claimed that he's claimed he's got 18 watches in Dubai, but we've heard from other sources that he may even have up to 100 Rolex watches. Property and parties instead of investing in liquidity pools. Now the company has filed now the lawyers, the receivers, have filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the Southern District of Florida, filed by a court-appointed receiver, not Delgado. So Christopher hasn't filed bankruptcy. It is the receivers that have filed bankruptcy. Very important that you understand that. So the strategy is here to protect your money, not for you to give up the fight of getting your money back, which is very important. Right, just clicking a button here, which pops up on the screen. For some reason, it wants to open something. So it doesn't mean it's over. I've been screaming about this scam since September the 2021. I received my first email asking me to investigate this on September the 1st, 2025 from an individual who said somebody was trying to recruit them, and I got a copy of the contract. Goliath even tried to sue me and dropped it the second the feds showed up. So they were trying to sue me even though they didn't have any jurisdiction over me. I was representing myself. The whole thing was a shit show. They filed 23 documents in the Orange County courtroom, and now they have filed a discontinuance, even though they were using this threat of legal action to shut people up. Are you really concerned that Christopher's going to come after you because you have lost your money? Are you keeping quiet because you're scared he's got clout when his company now has been put into receivership by the court-appointed receivers? But here's the part that I want every victim to hear loud and clear. This bankruptcy does not stop anyone going after the partners, promoters, enablers, and the co-conspirators. In fact, it makes a hunt clearer and more powerful. So let's break it down. No spin, no fluff. The timelines, because the chaos has moved fast, and this is very fast. The head investigator from Homeland Security, who was overwhelmed with the size of this investigation and got out of his grew bigger than he ever dreamed, said to me on the phone the day that Christopher was charged, first of all, he wanted to know how we managed to get notification of him being charged before he did. And the second thing is, he said in his 20 years of fighting crime, and he's a real crime fighter, not like Tomo, who claims that he was works in crime. He doesn't. He was a beat cop for 12 years, but let's not go down that track today, Danny. He said in his 20 years of history, he's never, ever seen anything go as fast as this. And I truly believe that's because of my work and my Avengers work. We've gone like hammer and tong, as they say. A quick timeline because chaos has moved fast. So just back on February the 24th, 2026, Delgado was arrested on federal wire fraud and money laundering charges on the 25th, where I never get his name right.
Mehul Patel
files a suit in Broward County and triggers an emergency receiver motion. And that was, I think that was the one I liked the most. I think it was one of these lawyers actually filed a federal case, and that's what I reckon prompted the federal wire fraud money laundering charges. The 3rd of March, which is only a few days ago, Broward judge appoints Michael S. Browick as receiver, and that's who's now bankrupted Christopher. Well, the company, what's left of it. March the 5th, 2026, receivership confirmed, plus first class action hits the lawyers that theoretically set up their
Austin and Bird.
March the 11th, I have to read some of these because I can't pronounce them properly. Sorry.
Gibbs Euro and Silver Law Group file massive class action against Goliath and Delgado.
So there's lots of lawsuits. And then the 13th to 14th to 26th, JP Morgan Chase gets slammed with its own class action for allegedly enabling the wild transfers. Now, I've heard from another lawyer that will probably get closed down and get reopened in Florida, because in the state of California, no one has any success going after the banks for some reason, so they'll change state. I don't know how that works, but anyway, I presume being closer to the state where the justice or the transfers were done may have more clout. I don't know, but that's what I heard. So don't be surprised or disheartened if you hear that that lawsuit actually gets dismissed and they reopen one in Florida. March the 16th. Now, this is only 2 days ago from doing this live recording. Receivers files voluntary Chapter 11 for Goliath Ventures Inc. And the case numbers are there. You can keep an eye on those, and we will give you some recommendations at the end of this blog. Top 20 unsecured creditors, almost all potential victims of fraud by Christopher A. Delgado. Greg Wilson, sitting at 8.7 million. Others in the hundreds of thousands. Your names on the list. Your names are on that list. This is your money they're talking about. Now, are your names on those lists? We've got 2,000 investors here. We've got 228 people in our persons of interest list. A lot of the people mentioned on the list in the receivers list, we didn't have on our database. So there's a whole month's more of researching going on. Lawsuits have been exploding over the last 6 weeks. Since Delgado's arrest, it's been lawsuit Armageddon. Now, you couldn't say that any better. At least 3 separate Broward County suits, which were all civil. The Austin and Bird class action on March the 5th, accusing the big law firm of drafting the fake joint venture agreements that hid the scam. The Gibbs, I can't even say this. I'm just going to get rid of some of the complicated stuff out of my
Gibbs
life.
Muir, Silver Law Group blockbuster against Goliath/Delgado. March 11th, and fresh suits nailing JP Morgan Chase for ignoring red flag wires.
Yeah, so they're going after the big companies, all the wire transfers and everything that was chaotic, and it shouldn't have happened with all the software they use now to pick up any anti-money laundering and all this. There's no reason why anyone should have been able to put $100,000 into some bank account without it being raising red flags, and that's what they'll go after. The whole thing was spinning out of control. Victims slung left and right, lawyers racing to freeze assets, promoters and joint venture partners ducking for cover. And as you can see, we've got these guys and we've got these recordings here where they are ducking for cover, and they actually even haven't stopped giving it up. Now, we've heard that Stephen Davis is trying to escape to go to Germany. He's already got himself a German citizenship, and we hear that he's going. We know that he has to get out of home, or has to get out of one of Chris's houses on the 26th, I believe. We know that Tomo is currently in Washington, D.C. We know he's appearing in the courtroom on other charges, or other lawsuits on the 23rd of this month. And these guys are just trying to keep face. They're trying to give bad advice to investors just to keep the wolves away from the door. So don't fall for any of that rubbish. Don't listen to those partners. Make sure you document everything, and also provide us information so we can put it in the database and keep building files on each of these individuals, so you can have more informed information on what these guys have been up to since the collapse of Goliath Ventures. Right, the chaos is exactly why the receivers have filed Chapter 11 on March the 16th. So don't be alarmed, this is all part of the process. Why Chapter 11 is not Chapter 7? Now, this is an interesting. Now, I'm not an American guy, I'm a New Zealander. I don't even know what Chapter 7 is, so let me explain that to you and maybe to myself at the same time. And this is a smart move by the receivers. People keep asking, why not just liquidate and be done? Because the receivers want control. Chapter 7 would boot him and hand everything to a random trustee. Chapter 11 lets Budwick and his team stay in charge. Triggered the automatic stay that freezes every lawsuit against. So it basically triggers an automatic stay that freezes every lawsuit against Goliath right now. So what they don't want is they don't want all these other lawsuits going in there and help themselves to money. So this now freezes everything. And they want to run an orderly investigation while they hunt for the remaining assets. So you guys need to come forward. You need to tell everyone. You need to tell people who got you involved in this. You need to tell them about the Tomos. You need to tell them about Tomo's brother. You need to tell them about Tomo's mother. You need to tell them about, Inspired Rejuvenational Clinic, who's looks like they are spending more money than they're making. Or you might want to go after Choice Press, who is a company that Steve owns, which is trying to set up a legitimate company using stolen Goliath money to prop that up so he can have something out of this all. This is what these guys have done. They've all tried to set up their own companies, and we need you to come out and tell us what they're doing. We know a lot already, but you can help fill pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. We know these guys are dirty. We know they've been using dirty money to set up what looks like legitimate companies that don't even have any proof of proof that they will sustain themselves because they've been inflated by dirty money. Okay, this isn't shady. It's standard in big Ponzi cases. So what we're seeing, I haven't seen some of this before, but I've done some investigation here, and now I'm going to share it with you. It stops the feeding frenzy, so the real work can begin. Tracing crypto wallets, selling seized luxury toys, and creating one fair claim process for thousands of victims instead of the courtroom. What's that word?
Anarchy.
Anarchy. Here's the part that matters most. You can still hammer the co-conspirators. The bankruptcy only channels claims against Goliath Ventures itself. So here's a massive opportunity for you to go after the person that introduced you into this, the person that gave you the reassurance, the person that corresponded with you, the screenshots that you've got, the texts that you received. Put them all together. File a lawsuit against these partners. The automatic stay freezes lawsuits against the company, but it does nothing to stop anyone from going after the real enablers, the partners, promoters, banks, law firms, accountants, and other people who helped run this for years, since 2023. The partners and the co-conspirators, they are not Goliath Ventures. They've set up their own LLC companies for independence. They've put, as Piers Curry said, a legal barrier between Goliath Ventures and their companies. So their companies are independent, and this is where you can go after them, providing you the wrong advice when they're not even registered financial advisors. They're not part of the bankruptcy estate. They're free, volatile agents that you can go after. You can and should consider pursuing them separately with full force. The class action lawsuit against Delgado personally, still alive and kicking. Lawsuits against JB Morgan Chase, Ellison and Bird, and other enablers like Eric Clayman and Jonathan Manson are still moving forward. So just because they've gone bankruptcy doesn't mean that these companies that are going after these entities can't continue. And that's why they can continue, because they are separate entities. I've been saying this for months. The big money in these cases often comes from deep pockets that look the other way or actively enable the fraud. Think about this. These banks allowed you to put hundreds of thousands of dollars in it and didn't even raise a red flag. Were people getting backhanders in the banks? We believe they were. And we do have some interesting intel that we'll research more thoroughly and see how they enabled that. Delgado is just one guy. He's one individual. The banks, lawyers, Eric Clayman, the lawyers that come after me, I'm going after them. That's what we're doing. They accused me of publishing a whole lot of lies, and now I've been vindicated. They've tried to bribe me with $150,000 if I took down my videos, and they come back for another go, and I wouldn't entertain even listening to it unless I could record it. These guys didn't want it recorded because they were doing shady shit. Lawyers, partners who fed him millions in wild transfers and rubber-stamped his lies. They're the ones with real assets. Go after these individuals, and they're wide open for action. They are the vulnerable people now. Christopher's been charged. Christopher's company's been put into receivership, bankruptcy. And now all the partners are sitting there vulnerable, and you can go after them. Please do. Do it for Danny. Bankruptcy doesn't shield them. If anything, it clears the path. Handle the Goliath piece. Handle the Goliath piece in one process. Then go after the rest. And now that's how recoveries actually happen. So the co-conspirators, names connected to the network, using the names shown on the image. That shouldn't be there. I'm going to fix that up. 1 minute, please, caller. So I have this image which I've been putting around the internet for quite some time, and I asked it to remove his name, remove Christopher's name in the list, and just have all the people that are co-conspirators, and that's what I'm fixing up now. And I've published that blog on many different places, so I probably won't edit it. So if you're looking at on other platforms, you will see what I've done. So these are the people, the co-conspirators, and I'm going to read them all because these people will go, I'm a victim. And you're not a victim because you're driving a Lamborghini or a Rolls Royce or a Ferrari. Always wanted a Ferrari. Did you pay for it out of yourself? Are you paying it off, or did you invest in other things?
Nick Petrillo, Tomo Marjanovic, David Panzik, Steve Davis, Alex Bucalo, James Delgado, Hunter Smalback, Mariusz Chmielewski, Stephanie Hernandez, Michael Hernandez, Mike Chmielewski, Punit Shah, Matt Burks, Piers Curry, Jay Newton, Jonathan Mason, Dante Spitaleri, Vince Gratta, Marty Berthelmer, Casey Holliday, Eric Clayman, Matthew Malcolms, Nadia Bringus, Eric Reidman, Douglas Schenkman, Gary Rice.
It's interesting. I get messages from people while I'm live sometimes. I've got a company that's called SmartLab. And SmartLab rebranded themselves to SmartLab International. And then we managed to take down their website. And I believe it was probably even a 200 million, if not plus, more bigger scam. We took down their website, and then they've rebranded the company. And this is relevant in a way. They've rebranded the company to another name. And then what they've decided to do is put a value on the tokens that they had, which were worth nothing. And they gave them a value of like 73 cents. And this person now says, and now it's plunged into about a penny now. So they exit strategy was to calm the farm. The website got taken down. They told everybody that was involved with the company, and they had to submit KYC details so they could match up to their money. And then they decided to give them some worthless tokens, which have now dropped down to worth nothing. And the person I'm talking to said they worked for their I had a job for the whole time, and I worked my whole life. I didn't expect to retire, but hoped that I would have he's hoping that money wouldn't be enough to retire on, but he's hoping it would have given him a boost. It's been a hard lesson, but a worthwhile one. I was just offered an investment opportunity, literally yesterday, but I turned it down. It shows the same red flags. So here's a guy that's lost a lot of money, not quite enough to retire on, but he was hoping that would have helped his retirement. Even yesterday, he's got offered a new like-minded opportunity, and he's turned it down because he's learned his lesson. And then now he wants to help me. Is there anything I can do to help you investigate? Any questions? If at all possible, I would love to help bring this Ponzi to light so that investment opportunity offered another investment opportunity. So straight away I go, I cringe a little bit and I say, you say, another investment, what's the name? What is the name? So they don't tell me the name of this investment opportunity. They just tell me they've got an investment opportunity. And it's so frustrating. It's so exhausting doing what we do. I don't think you guys realize we don't get paid for doing this, not enough to merit the time and energy we put into it. If I become a raving success, I get people like this message me all day long. I've got an appointment at 10 past 10 today, which is in 40 minutes time, with somebody has filled out my form to book some of my time, failed to pay me a measly $50 to exhaust me with their problems. And I feel like I'm a doctor who doesn't get paid for my time. People want me to help them, but the hidden agenda is always, can you help me get my money back? And I go, no. And then also, I've been looking at this other opportunity and I'm wondering if this one's legitimate. And I go, do you want me to look at this opportunity and say, yeah, it looks great, mate? And then you're going to take out all your life savings and throw it into this new opportunities. Do you really want me to actually say, what mentality have people actually got who don't learn from their experiences? You've lost 100,000. So what? I've got no money. I'm happy enough. You've lost 100,000 because you were hoping to make $200,000 in 18 months. Are you kidding me? And now you want me to spend my time running around trying to help you get your money back? Do you know how much effort that puts in my brain? I'm exhausted. You know, I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning. My partner woke up at 3:30 in the morning and started work. I woke up at 5 o'clock and thought, oh, here's a blog. Somebody helped put together a blog to help you. I'm exhausted. You know, and I get these messages where people want my brain. I've got somebody in LinkedIn at the moment asking me to throw a company under the bus because they haven't been paid their wages. And oh, okay. And the individual, they give me this individual. Then I've done it before, and I've gone out there and wrote articles about an individual who's running a shady company. Then I find out that the guy was told to give me misinformation. So I've had to remove all that information. So now what I do is I go back to these people, mainly in Pakistan, and I tell them, give me the names of victims that you've been promoting your book services to. When you give me a whole list of your database of all these people that you've been promoting, the fact that you're going to ghostwrite their book and you've never delivered the product, give me those names of those victims so I can ring up those victims and say, do you realize that company that's been writing your book for the last 18 months that you've never seen is actually running a scam? And they'll go, I don't think so. They said they're just about going to be finished. I've just paid another $25,000 for a Hollywood package where they're going to do this to my book when it gets launched. And I go, your book will never get launched. We've got 1,000 website addresses of like-minded companies that are doing exactly the same thing to you day in and day out. And I have to sit here and exhaust myself trying to explain to you that you're getting scammed. And I said, why did you go to that company? Oh, they said that they'll be able to do this and they'd be able to do that. They'll be able to trademark. I needed a trademark. And also I'm going to be on Amazon's top #1 book. And I go, it's all lies. All this shit is lies. All these individuals and these names that are right in front of me now have lied to you. And you're sitting here trusting what they say could be right. Why don't you take the word of somebody who seems like he's dedicated his life to doing this for the last 5 years? Why don't you use the examples of people? Somebody here has just lost a whole lot of money to a company that I yelled out about 1.5 years ago that no one should invest in. And they've rebranded the company. We've shut down the website. We've got the blame for shutting down the Ponzi scheme that they were running. And they've reopened it. And now these people have been given what they think is theirs. And now it's been their 73-cent token, whatever it was, is now worth nothing. And they go, oh, the value's in the token. And don't you worry, these tokens are going to be worth something someday because the same guy that scammed them told them that. So you guys have got to stand up for yourselves. It is exhausting. I can't do this for you. I mean, I'm getting messages from people telling me, just before I went live, my WhatsApp account got shut down again. I have to wait another 12 hours before it get opened up. Here I am chatting to somebody who's telling me, and I know they've lost millions to Goliath. And I said, I know who you are. I know your name. I know how much you invested in Goliath, and they've been keeping it anonymous. I know these things because we researched, and we're trying to help this person be brave enough. And they were disheartened about this whole thing, and they were thinking they're just going to get away with it, but they want to remain anonymous. Why? Aren't you guys sick to death with scumbags, bottom feeders, just getting away with it? As we showed you already, we've got this guy here, Jonathan.
Listen, I got two people in my office right now. This is Kansas State rule.
When he passed, we were able to use power of attorney, roll the money over into there, and it paid the same month he passed.
So his father was dying. They used power of attorney. They transferred his life saving into Goliath. They got paid 1 month dividend. And now Jonathan is trying to use that example to tell people that he's in the same boat as you are. And then if you go on further here, they claim that Christopher... Listen,
Supposed to be used for the business, never put it back in or whatever, and bought something with it. But it's not a Ponzi. They're not even accusing him of Ponzi. It's wire fraud and money laundering.
So here is he telling people that Christopher hasn't been arrested or charged for a Ponzi scheme. He's only been charged for 2 counts of money laundering and wire fraud. This is what they are telling people. So it's just disgusting. You know, and these are the real bottom feeders. And then if you listen to this recording before Jonathan gets it taken off again, you know, what's happening here? Where we go? There we go. If you figure out this before he gets his recording taken off, because he doesn't want this on here, they're just lying to you. So you go through these names here and you think about, yeah, I've had dealings with him. Like Gary Rice, you probably won't even know who he is. He's the guy that's doing all the filming. He's filmed all those propaganda videos that you see Christopher doing. It's by my foot. These propaganda videos that Christopher's been. Do you want me to do that for you? Okay. So, you know, this man may not be anyone you know, but these people have been facilitating the scammer. They have been outside the bank in the getaway car. They've been introducing Christopher. These guys are all part of it. These are co-conspirators. I wouldn't put my name, my reputation out, and I wouldn't put these guys under the bus. I wouldn't put myself in jeopardy if I didn't believe this. I mean, Jay Newton, we believed he brought in $120 million for Goliath Ventures. As soon as we found out where his daughter went to university and we put her name on there and we said, shut up, he stopped being in our courtroom, giving us a hard time, in our chat room, giving us a hard time. He went quiet. So it's just, so as the bankruptcy isolates Goliath Ventures Inc., attention naturally shift to the broader network of people who were publicly associated, promoted, or operated the ecosystem. I mean, if you went to a fun park, when I was in Florida, I went to SeaWorld. I gave my money to the ticket lady to get in, right? But everybody at the park who let me in to go on the rides, who fed me ridiculous amount of money for the food, are all part of the park. The park doesn't operate by the gatekeeper, Christopher Delgado. It's not just one-man rodeo. You've got to go after these people. The spotlight is no longer on just the company. And many of you, this is where the next phase of accountability begins. These people that are on the screen now, these people wearing those pins are the partners. Matt Burks, he started another opportunity. Jonathan Mason has said to you that you can be part of that opportunity, and he's paying maybe 3.5% per month. Not quite as good as the 5% you were getting. And then other people going, oh, we're getting paid 3% per month. How come he's offering more? I might go and see him. And he'll tell you, don't you worry about everything. I've got a mate called Tomo, and he knows all about fraud. So I've got advice from him. I mean, this is the rubbish. Piers Curry and Matt Burks, both guys I want to see in locked up. These guys have been pretending they're financial advisors. They're not registered anywhere. In fact, Matt Burke left his company 3 years ago so he could work for Goliath. Started up a company called My Black Block and My Wealth Management, not to be mistaken as Black Rock and not to be mistaken as Wealth MD. Two separate companies to bamboozle you with words that you thought were those companies. And now both those websites have been removed. You don't see them and their names in the receivers, do you? So you want to go after My Black Block. There's one lawyer out there that I've spoken to, and I said, you have done the first federal lawsuit. I said, you've just gone after everybody. And he said, thanks. And I said, you are awesome. Now you want to contact that lawyer and you want to go after those people because that lawyer is going after everybody associated. The first lawyer, Jordan Shaw, I mean, he was representing Nick Petrillo. What the heck? He's representing Nick Petrillo because Nick Petrillo was claiming he didn't get $40 million worth of rewards from Christopher. What type of lawyer would represent Nick Petrillo? And then everybody's going, oh, well, he's done all the work. We'll just go and stand behind him in this class action lawsuit. Oh, no, but he's not going to go after the partners. Now, what's he going to do? He looks like a friggin' idiot, in my opinion, because that receiver has shut him down. This is the checklist that you need to go through. And you need to do this today. Look, don't message me in 3 months' time and go, I've just discovered your videos and I've just decided to do something. I get it. You know, I don't want to call you stupid, but I will call you stupid in a couple of months' time. Are you really going to sit in your hands and do nothing and wait to see what happens and then expect that you should be in the queue? It's like going to, I don't know, a homeless shelter and standing outside looking at everyone queuing to get in for the food and then going in there 2 weeks later, well, probably not a good example. Let's go 2 hours later and then going, where's the food? Why is the food cold? And I'm going to say, well, you should have been here 2 years ago, 2 hours ago. Weren't you just outside a minute ago? Action checklist. Do this today. If you're feeling overwhelmed right now, start simple. Start with control. Now, look, if I was there and I was standing in front of you and I didn't know you from a bar of soap, and I have had people just turn the camera on and burst into tears because of my beautiful face. And I don't mean this funny, but I'm a hugger, and I'm here to help the victims. And I've been accused. People go, "Oh, what's your motive? Why are you just helping people?" And I go, "I'm just a nice guy." And I've got a Swiss watch that you could buy here out of my jacket. I'm not that guy. If I was standing in front of you now and you were telling me, I cringe when people tell me how much money they've lost. And I burst into tears sometimes. I had a lady that come on camera and she saw my face and she just burst into tears. And then I'm working that day and I'm trying not to burst into tears. I feel for you. But don't sit here and do nothing. Gather every single document, wire confirmations, bank statements, email, contracts, screenshots. Just put them all in one place so you've got them. Zip them up so you don't have to look at them every day. Don't let this get you. Don't let this consume you. Don't let them win. Don't give them the time of day to make this consume you and eat you up. Build a clear timeline of what you invested. Dates are everything. We ask people for dates, even today when we hear people, when did you have that conversation? Oh, that's that bit of jigsaw puzzle. The bit that wasn't quite fitting now fits quite clearly. Jigsaw puzzles are a great thing when you're trying to put something together because we haven't got the cover. I didn't have the cover. I didn't have the picture when I started investigating Goliath Ventures. I just had a shitty contract that I looked at and thought, this is crap. But when you're doing a jigsaw puzzle, you get all the pieces together, you put all the blue bits together, you put all the green bits together, you put all the straight edges together, and you put all the complicated bits over there for later on. And you keep applying. You keep putting those bits together. You keep trying fitting those bits. And then eventually, the overall picture becomes very clear. And you get that buzz and you think, right, I'm into this. I've got this. I know what this is now. I can see it. And you've got to keep applying. If you do nothing and you're not going to sit there and help with this jigsaw puzzle, I've got 228 pieces of a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. and I can see the picture. Your pieces, your 1 or 2 pieces help me build a better picture, and then we all help each other. We're on the same side, right? I'll give you a hug. Right. Preserve every communication. Now, if you've got your phone and you press the up and down key and the power button at the same time, it takes a screenshot. Just thought I'd tell you that. That's how you get the screenshots. And then they save to your camera roll, and then you can actually share them to yourself potentially as an email. Don't resize them, keep them in the original format, because I'm sick of looking at blurry images, but some things like that may be able to help you. So build a clear timeline of what you invested, what you received, and when it stopped. Preserve every communication, emails, texts, and messages. Write down what you were told. Keep a journal. And who told you? Who was feeding you? What partner was feeding you the bunch of lies? Now, monitor PACER for cases. So we've got the cases here, and you can actually probably just search cases on my website, and you can find these cases easy enough. Contact the receiver. Now, I did this, and to my surprise, he reached back to me. I said to him, I know Jonathan, and Jonathan knows where $1 billion is tied up in crypto. And I went to the receiver, and I also went to the lawyer that's going after him and said, hey, it might be a good idea if you contact Jonathan, because he knows where $1 billion is tied up. I personally don't believe he does. I think he's full of shit. But he's also, when I said to that same lawyer that he's promoting a new opportunity that will pay 3.5% per month, he said, that's disgusting. And I said, that's why we told you, because we know that he will get his heels in there and go after that guy. So register yourself with him. Let him know you exist. No point being in the water after the Titanic has sunk, been freezing and getting hypothermia, and then not blowing that thing and flashing that light and waving your arms around. If you're going to keep yourself like this, no one's going to see you. Speak with law firms already involved in the cases. Piggybank of other lawsuits. The hard work's been done now. A lot of it has been done. Sit down with your own securities attorney. I can't even say that word.
Attorney.
Submit evidence to the Department of Justice, the IRS, the FBI, SECT, the CFTC if you want. I always like to throw one more. And also the one I like to contact was the USSS. Now, I didn't realize that the USSS had 3 S's. I thought it had 2. And I thought, who's the USSS? And that was the United States Special Services. Learn something every day. Okay, you don't need to solve everything today. You just need to make a start. You just need to make sure you've got yourself in the queue and you're in the homeless shelter so you get fed. The fight isn't over. It's just changed. It's got more orderly. This isn't the end of the story. Right now, it might feel like something has been taken from you: money, trust, and control. And just off script here, the word trust, everything to do with this Ponzi scheme and scam is about trust. Everyone they smoothed with, they had pictures of Kalpesh Patel, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, Kalpesh Patel. He's changed his name. Was it Kalpesh? Yeah, I know he is. Oh, Hyperverse. Oh, see, I'm talking about Kesh Patel was Hyperverse, and Cash Patel is the head of the FBI. We've got Michael Johnson, the Speaker of the House. You've got Chris Delgado with the President of the United States of America. You've got photos with Tomo and Eric Trump. We've got, all the people of influences. That's why he got involved with everybody. He schmoozed. And they were doing that because they wanted to build trust. And they build trust, and then you trust your friends. They build relationships. And some of the dirty tactics were one example that's in my head I can't actually tell you about, but the extents, the lengths, what they did to build this trust with one individual who lost millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions, and I still haven't told you how much they've lost. The things that they did to build that trust with that individual were disgusting. So it's all about trust, and then they control you. Well, it's time to take back that control. That feeling is real, and you're not the only one sitting there thinking it. But what happens here is a shift, and it's an important one. What was chaos is now being structured. So all these lawsuits have all been brought into order. What felt hidden has now been exposed, and what looked out of reach is now being pursued. From chaos to structure, from silence to action, from exposure to accountability. You're not powerless in this. Every document you gathered, every timeline you built, every piece of evidence you preserve, it's all matters. It's all adds up. And it all strengthens the position of every victim involved. And if you stay organized, stay informed, and stay involved, you're not out of this fight. You're not even close. So stay sharp. And I said to ChatGPT after I put this in there, I said, can you give me a quote? Complaining without action changes nothing. Action is where accountability begins. And there's my normal disclaimer where I can say whatever I like and it doesn't matter. Oh, guys, I don't know. The last week has been shit. I'm just saying. I've even as I speak, I've got a person just giving me another website address of a scam, and I actually can't help myself, but I'm just going to put this this scam on the screen, and this is the first time I've actually seen this. And just to give you an example, so first of all, this is a website where somebody's been telling us wealth, knowledge, access. You join up as a membership, fund your account, choose your expert advisor, activate your license, which will mean you'll probably have to do KYC details, monitor the experience automation. So this will be another system which is probably doing arbitrage trading. It's got graphics to make it look like it's cool, developed by a team of developers, analysts, and and down here somewhere, oh look, they've even got all the languages. But we get this shit on our desk every day. Membership, let me guess. Is it a one-page website? Oh my goodness. No, look, you can get access every 3 months, $99. Or you can pay $200. Like I'm meant to sit here and look at that and help somebody with their investments. Well, not investment, but this person's trying to tell me they think it's a scam. I look at it and go, it's a scam because it's associated to another group of people that were running a scam. It's not rocket science, but it is tiring. And I haven't lost any money. So I can't imagine what it's like for you guys that have invested in something. And not only have you invested, you've actually taken out your life savings and handed it over to a guy that's pissed it all away on Rolex watches, sports cars, houses, lifestyle, and airplane rides. But he's not the only one, guys. The co-conspirators, which are trying to stop me now. So Goliath come after me. They offered me $150,000 to shut up. They come back with another offer, knocked on my literal door. Now I've got all these partners coming after me. Are you guys going to help me? You're going to back me? You're going to stop people like Jonathan trying to take down his videos because he doesn't want to be named and shamed? He'll win because, the system isn't set up for people who expose scams. The system's actually set up for people who run scams. So you need to go after Jonathan. Jonathan claims he's got $7 million in Goliath. Well, I would like to see the receipt for the $7 million that you slid over the table and invested with Christopher Delgado. Because you didn't, did you? No. Jonathan would have been receiving rewards for pushing victims over the cliff. Every time he pushed a victim over a cliff, he would have got a reward. And the reward money he would have invested in Goliath Ventures. Some of it, not all of it, because he's driving around in a Rolls Royce. He's meant to be an insurance salesman. Do you really get a Rolls Royce from selling insurance? Anyone else sells insurance who's driving around in a Rolls Royce, buys an $8.5 million house, has a mistress for 3 years, and has a wife that's about to drop his third child? How the hell does that work? How do those people live like that and then tell you they're in the same boat as you? Steve Davis. Had a great conversation with him. If you go through my YouTube videos, you'll see that I actually got on the phone with Steve Davis. Steve Davis has got himself a German citizenship, and he's making travel plans to pack up his family and move to Germany. Why would he be moving to Germany if he thinks this was the real deal? What about Christopher's wife, Andy, Andie, currently on a first-class cruise? She got paid $20,000 per month from Christopher. Not to run the family. No. He paid for everything. $20,000 was just shopping money. So she's meant to be visiting the Cayman Islands on her cruise, her first class cruise. Why is she allowed to travel? Why has she got a passport? We've got evidence that she was actively promoting Goliath Ventures to people. Were you one of those people? Why don't you do a class action lawsuit against the partners? Why don't you do a lawsuit against her if you were a victim? Tomo, his brother, introduced a $400,000 investor. Why aren't you going after Tomo's brother for giving you investment advice? Why don't you go get a good lawyer and go after these bottom feeders before they come after me for reporting the truth? I'm here to help you guys. You can reach out to me. Don't tell me you don't know my number. Go to danny.co.nz. You'll find my website. All my contact details are there. You can go into the description of this video and find links to the blogs for the information that I've provided. And I really hope that you reach out to me. I'm only human. I'm exhausted. This is hard work. And I understand that you may be perplexed, exhausted, and feel like no one cares. Well, it's not true. I care. Let's do something about it. Don't sit there and do nothing and then tell me about it later on. Have a good day. Thank you for watching.